reacting to the Kardashians season 3 episode 6 trailer. Hey everyone, welcome back to another shared news. Season 3 of the Kardashians is starting to get tense. We are going to break down the trailer for the next episode and get into all the drama. But before we do, if you are new here, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you never miss out on any Kardashian updates. As always, I'm your host, Morgan Wright, and I will be the first to admit it might be an unpopular opinion. I honestly have no idea, but the beginning of this season of the Kardashians has been a little slow in my opinion, but things are finally starting to pick up as this feud between Kim and Kourtney also starts to pick up. It's a tale as old as time, but here we are in year 2023, still talking about an iconic Kim and Kourtney feud. So let's break down the trailer for next week's episode to see if we can figure out what is going to happen next.
Next on The Kardashians.
We've built this amazing life for ourselves, but it can be a curse.
So I think, and this is just a theory, but I think that this girls' trip is when they tried to go to the Usher concert. Remember, there was one time last year where all the girls tried to go see Usher, and I think it was maybe Vegas, but they ended up just stuck on an airplane for hours because they couldn't land or something like that. I could be completely making this up, but I remember that outfit on Kim, and I think that's what's happening here. So maybe we'll see some of that. Also, Chris, we see in the next scene talk about how this life has provided them with a lot of opportunities, but it could be a blessing and a curse. I think she talks about this. This isn't the first time that we've heard this kind of sentiment from Chris. It just depends on what in particular she's talking about. I think for the sake of argument, we could assume that she's talking about the feud between Kim and Kourtney that revolves around Dolce and Gabbana. Sure, it is a huge opportunity for Kim and Kourtney to have Dolce and Gabbana make her wedding dress, but at the same time, it has come with some tumultuous drama between the sisters as well. So let's watch the next clip.
There's no sense of loyalty. It's who she is to her core.
The tension is brewing and brewing.
Okay, yes. So we're starting to kind of get into the nitty gritty details of how Kourtney feels. And up until this point, it just has been the fact that Kim did this Dolce and Gabbana runway show 4 months after Kourtney's wedding. Kourtney feels like a lot of the looks that Kim did on the runway show were maybe inspired is the word to use, although I'm sure that's not the word that Kourtney would use, but from her wedding, the 90s Dolce and Gabbana vintage catalog. And Kourtney feels some type of way about it. And it's been a little bit of time, but they've never actually sat down and had a face-to-face conversation about it. We see here, apparently she's going to talk to Khloe first, which Khloe a lot of times seems to be the mediator between the two sisters. So maybe Kourtney is just trying to get her emotions out to Khloe first before she has this sit-down meeting with Kim, which we will see at the end of this trailer. But let's go ahead and keep watching.
Kim is going to be 42.
You are pretty much now the leader of our family.
What?
Wow. And yeah, what a statement coming from Kris Jenner. So we see they're going to be celebrating Kim's 42nd birthday. I mean, she just looks phenomenal no matter what age she is. But then Kris says, you are the leader of the family, which gets quite the reaction. I'm not sure who said what. It's kind of making it seem like it might have been Kourtney. But when you consider that the matriarch of the family, Kris Jenner, the momager, the head honcho, when she's saying that to Kim, it's a pretty big deal. And I feel like if her sisters were there, which they obviously were, they might feel some type of way about that comment, especially Kourtney, who is in the middle of this unspoken feud with Kim. Let's keep watching.
So tonight, Kourtney and I are finally going to talk about Dolce & Gabbana.
No one called me to say, how do you feel about this?
I know I called you.
Yeah, so here's the moment we've all been waiting for. It's been about 2 or 3 episodes of, like I said, this tension building between Kourtney and Kim. And it feels like, first of all, it feels like these conversations always happen on this type of bed. Remember when they had the fight about Kourtney's work ethic or lack of work ethic, which actually turned into a full on fist fight? They were sitting on a bed here. Whenever they were talking about Scott, I just feel like all of the hard conversations happen in one of their rooms on a bed. But I'm honestly glad that Kourtney is getting her feelings out there. And I do think, Kendall actually made the point earlier in the season that she sees both sides of this argument. And I really do see both sides of this argument too. I feel like from Kourtney's standpoint, it is her wedding, arguably one of the biggest days of her life. And let's just be honest, I feel like Kim is always in the spotlight. Kourtney really is not, which might be harsh to say. But even Chris, saying, Kim, you're the leader of this family. I feel like Kourtney maybe just wanted one moment to herself, to have that Dolce and Gabbana collaboration. And then to maybe hear that these conversations were happening at Kourtney's wedding. Then 4 months later, Kim does this runway show. But then on Kim's side, are you really going to say no to Dolce and Gabbana asking you to style, one of their runway shows? You would never turn down that opportunity. So I could see both sides, but let's see how this trailer wraps up.
I thought I came to you. I did. You stole my wedding country. Like the business and the check was more important than my feelings.
So Kim here is maybe pointing out some hypocrisy from Kourtney, saying, I got married in Italy first, and then you go get married in Italy, which is like, come on. I mean, I feel like that is a little bit of a stretch. Italy's a big country. Like, why can't they both get married there? But even when you think about the past episodes in the edit, right? It's like Kim was pointing out, oh, well, when Kourtney was in Italy, she actually wore an outfit that I wore in 2019. So it's always, of course, it's very petty. I mean, they're sisters. This is what sisters fight about. But also, you have to imagine that the edit is going to maybe stir up some old feelings, because you would think that by now, this was filmed last year, they might have moved on. But when you see confessionals of Kim saying, well, she didn't say Kourtney's being a hypocrite, but she said Kourtney was being a hypocrite. You have to imagine that Kourtney is going to feel some type of way about that. And if she's watching the show in real time, like we are, that might be the first time that she's ever heard that coming from Kourtney, or from Kim, rather. I do question that a little bit, because they are executive producers of the show. So how much of it have they really not seen? Even a couple weeks ago, I think we saw Kim at a Blink 182 show with Kourtney, and we saw a camera crew behind them. So it seems like they have gotten over it, that they are moving forward, but just wondering, how the edit will play out and how it will maybe affect this relationship once again. But like I said, we are getting into the thick of the drama here with Kourtney and Kim. This season is really starting to heat up. So let us know in the comments what you think. Whose side are you on? Are you team Kourtney? Are you team Kim? Are you team both? And really, you're like me, you're Switzerland. You can see everybody's side. We love to hear from our shared news family in the comment section below. So make sure you leave whatever it is that's on your mind. Give this video a thumbs up, ring the bell, subscribe to our channel so you never miss any updates. As always, I'm your host, Morgan Wright, and we will see you back here next time. Bye, everyone.